My name is Serena Miles, and I ain't never met a man who loved so hard and lived so lonely until I stepped into the quiet, broken world of Mr. Arthur Hayes. When I first walked into his house, I thought I had walked into someone's unfinished goodbye. The blinds were half open, just enough light to touch the dust, like it was trying to wake something that had already given up. He sat in an old brown armchair facing the window, staring out at nothing, like he was waiting on the world to apologize. His posture was stiff, his jaw tight, his hands clasped like a soldier holding the last secret to a war nobody wrote about. Strict, but fragile. Silent, but heavy. I spoke first. "Good morning, Mr. Hayes. I'm Serena. I'll be helping you from now on." He didn't turn toward me, didn't nod, didn't speak. Just kept staring at the empty front yard like it held a crime scene only he remembered. So I stood there quiet, awkward, holding my little notebook and my fake "I love my job" smile. Then, out of nowhere, he asked, "Do you know what betrayal smells like?" His voice shook the room. I blinked. What kind of question was that? Before I could answer, he said, "It smells like the people you raised walking out the door."
He wasn't talking about a dead wife. He wasn't talking about a woman who left him. He was talking about the children he sacrificed everything for, the same children who now pretended he never existed. I walked slowly around, learning the home he refused to leave. Family pictures on the walls, grandchildren smiling, his son in a suit, his daughter holding a newborn baby. But every frame had a layer of dust, like time had stopped clapping for him. I pointed to a picture gently. "Big family," he snorted. "Big disappointments." I swallowed my curiosity, but the caregiver in me was losing to the human in me. "What happened to them?" He didn't answer me. Instead, he asked, "Do you take care of people because you need a job, or because you're trying to fix something you couldn't fix at home?" That man looked straight through my bones, and he didn't even turn his head.
I didn't answer him because there was something I couldn't fix at home. A mother who died too early, a brother I couldn't save from his own choices, a silence in my own family that still follows me like a shadow. Maybe that's why I stay, with the old, the lonely, the forgotten, people like him. Before I left that day, I heard him whisper under his breath, soft, broken, almost begging. "When blood betrays you, who do you live for?" But he didn't know. Before he found his answer, he was about to face the very people who betrayed him, and I would be standing right beside him.
The next morning, I made him oatmeal the way he liked it. Plain, no sugar, warm and quiet, just like him. He ate slowly, like he was chewing time itself. His shaking hands didn't match his strict face. Age had softened his body, but not his voice. "Your hands hurt today?" I asked. He set his spoon down with a small clink. "Pain is a privilege. It means you're still here," he said. Strict, wise, heavy. But right when he spoke, his eyes drifted to the doorway, like someone used to walk through there every morning. And that's when I realized he wasn't eating breakfast. He was remembering someone. After breakfast, I helped clean the living room. That's when I found 3 boxes under the coffee table. Still wrapped, still sealed, still waiting. Birthday gifts. Unused, unopened, unwanted. One had faded wrapping paper with pink balloons. Another was covered in childish stickers. The last one had a tag that read, "For Dad, from Michael." Yet the tape had never been ripped. I held them up. "You never open these?" His jaw tightened. His voice turned stiff like a preacher refusing to cry during a funeral. Why open something from people who only show up when you're useful to them?
I sat across from him, holding the smallest box. "They still thought of you. Maybe that means something." He turned his head slowly, eyes cold but full. "Serena, a thought is not love. A call is not care. And a gift is not guilt.
They gave because they were leaving. That silence afterward, it wasn't empty. It was full of years, full of ache, full of questions that never got answers. I whispered, "Why did they leave?" He took a long breath, like he was trying not to drown in it. "Because I raised them too well." I frowned, confused. "Isn't that a good thing?" He shook his head. "I raised them strong enough to think they didn't need me." He leaned back like he was finally ready to let one memory out. "I worked 2 jobs so they could be somebody. I pushed them to study so they wouldn't end up stuck here. I taught them discipline, routine, respect. But I forgot to teach them something else." I leaned forward. "What?" His voice cracked. "To love without conditions. To care even when someone isn't useful to you." Suddenly, I understood. He taught them strength, but never taught them softness. He protected their future, but forgot to protect their hearts.
He stared again at the doorway, not waiting this time, just remembering. They needed me when I paid the bills. They needed me when the heat broke. They needed me when college cost more than life itself. But when they got their own lives... His voice turned quiet, almost ashamed. They stopped needing me. And they mistook that for not loving me. Those words hit me like truth always does. Slow first, then all at once. Because love isn't about dependence. We don't stop loving our mothers when we can pay our own bills. We don't forget our fathers when we don't need their help. But his children did.
Before I left that evening, I asked gently, "Who left first?" He stared at me with a look that said the pain already knew its own name. "Michael," he whispered. "The same name on that unopened gift." And before I could ask why, he added, "He walked out the night I saved his life." Saved. Not ruined. Not hurt. Saved. Yet that's the night Michael never came back. A good father. A strict father. A loving father. Made one decision, and it cost him every child he had.
Mr. Arthur's voice softened when he spoke of that night, but his hands trembled like they still held the memory. "It wasn't a storm outside," he began. "The storm was in my own son's life. Michael wasn't a teenager. He wasn't some confused young man playing with danger. He was a married adult with a baby girl at home, and a future that should have gone somewhere beautiful. But stress changes men. Bills were drowning him. His wife was working double shifts at the hospital. His daughter needed medicine they couldn't afford. And the world wasn't giving him a break. So Michael turned to the wrong answer. Not to steal something, not to kill someone, just to follow a man who claimed to help with money in a way that smelled wrong. Alone. From someone who didn't need paperwork. Only obedience."
Mr. Arthur said it with a steady stare. People think danger looks like a weapon. Sometimes it looks like kindness, a quick solution, an easy way out. Michael wasn't stupid. He was desperate. The man offering the money smiled too easily, promised too fast, and never blinked when talking about payments. "No interest, just loyalty," he said. That loyalty meant something ugly. Everybody in town knew what kind. That man owned people like dogs on a leash. Once you took his money, You belonged to him. That night, Mr. Arthur did something a father shouldn't have to do at all. He pulled his son out of a trap. By force.
It happened in the driveway, next to the old mailbox. Michael stood there with that man, ready to sign a paper with no words on it. Just a blank contract. A signature that would chain his life. Michael's wife stood behind him, crying quietly. She begged him not to do it, but he was too tired to care. That man smiled, waiting. And then Arthur stepped out of the house. Still in his work boots, still in his dirty jacket, still smelling like oil and sweat from a long shift. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just walked between the man and his son and said, "My boy doesn't belong to you." Michael stepped forward. "Dad, I just need help." Arthur shook his head. "You need time, not a prison you can't see." Michael reached for the papers again. Arthur slapped them out of his hand. The man's smile died. Michael's pride exploded. "You think I can't handle my own life?" Arthur stared back with a truth too strong for Michael to accept. "You can handle it, but not like this." Michael shoved him. Not hard, just enough to say, "Don't decide for me." Arthur grabbed Michael by the collar, not out of anger, but desperation, and pulled him away from that deal like a father pulling a child from traffic. Michael swung at him. He hit his own father, and Arthur just absorbed it, like a wall protecting a home from a storm. Arthur turned to the man offering the help. He didn't argue. He didn't threaten. He didn't explain. He simply took out his wallet, every dollar he had, and paid for his son's freedom. Not with love, not with pride, not with hugs, with money. All of it. A down payment on a lifetime his son wouldn't lose. "That cash was meant for my bills," Arthur whispered to me, voice cracking. "But I chose to pay for his soul instead." The man took the money and left. Michael never thanked him. He never stayed. He packed, returned the unopened gifts, and left town. He told Arthur, "You embarrassed me. You treated me like a child. I don't want your kind of love anymore." And he walked away with his wife and daughter. He left the safety, but he didn't take the love. Mr. Arthur looked at me then. Tears were caught but not allowed to fall. I saved him, and he hated me for Mr. Arthur looked at me then. Tears were caught but not allowed to fall. I saved him, and he hated me for it. I whispered, "Would you do it again?" He didn't hesitate. 1,000 times. That's what real love is. A sacrifice they don't thank you for. Sometimes love saves them and they leave you for it. Michael isn't gone forever. He will come back. Not for forgiveness, not for love, but because something even heavier is coming. One of them is dying, and the only person who can face it is the father. A year passed after Michael left. Life settled into its cold routine. I took care of Mr. Arthur the way people take care of things they can't fix. Pain doesn't go away in the elderly. It just gets quieter. He never asked me to talk about Michael again. Every morning, he looked out the same window. Every night, I tucked his blanket around his legs. We didn't talk about love. We just survived it. Until one rainy afternoon, there was a knock on the door. Soft. Not urgent, not angry, just hopeful and scared. Arthur's hands tightened around the armrests. He didn't get up, but I saw his whole body listen. I opened the door. Michael stood there. older than just a year could make him, tired, eyes bloodshot, not from anger, but grief. He held nothing in his hands this time. No suitcases, no gifts, no expectations, just sorrow. "Dad?" he whispered. And for a moment, Arthur didn't see a word. He didn't welcome him, didn't yell at him, didn't ask why he came. He just studied his son's face the way a man studies a storm, trying to guess how much damage it might bring.
That night, I cooked soup while father and son sat in silence. No apologies, no explanations, just presence. Michael's voice eventually cracked through the quiet. "You were trying to help me that night." Arthur nodded once. "I didn't want to lose you." Michael wiped his eyes, ashamed. "But you did." Arthur looked at him, then said something so soft it almost broke in half. "You came back. That's enough. No, I'm sorry. No, I forgive you. Just truth. Some forgiveness doesn't use language. Sometimes it happens in the space between two people breathing the same air after years apart." Michael stayed, not because he was getting better, but because his father was running out of time to love him. They ate meals together in silence, sometimes laughing at small things like burnt toast or forgotten salt. I watched Arthur soften. The strictness faded into patience. He didn't lecture Michael, didn't revisit the past, didn't try to be a hero again. He just sat with his son, the way he wished he had long ago. That was his apology. That was his forgiveness. Love was no longer a rescue mission. It was presence. The last morning. One morning, Michael found Arthur still in bed. Peaceful. Blanket neat. Hands folded like he had decided to leave gently. Death didn't steal him. It respected him. Michael sat beside his father and held his hand, something he hadn't done since childhood. And he said the words too late for Arthur to hear, but right on time for healing to settle in his own chest. "Thank you for saving me." A tear fell on his father's hand. Not a regret, not sorrow, a realization. Love doesn't always arrive when you need it. Sometimes it comes when you understand it. At the funeral, people spoke of Arthur as a strict man, a hard-working man, a tough man. But only Michael knew the truth. He wasn't strict because he lacked love. He was strict because love scared him. Because protecting someone is easier than showing them how much you care. Michael carried his father's ashes to the river and whispered, "I'm going to do better with my daughter." And that was the real ending. Not death, not regret. Growth. Forgiveness passed on. Love learned too late, but not wasted. Some parents love in a language they never learn to translate. Some children only understand that love when life becomes short. So love your people while they're still here. Not perfectly, but presently, before love becomes a memory trying to apologize in silence. If this story touched your heart, then like and subscribe my channel for more stories.